Hi there, I'm Jessica Kringle. Of course, most of you know me as Mrs. Claus, and we are counting down the days until Christmas by doing a different recipe each day, and these recipes are from my family recipe box. They're the sweets and treats that I grew up getting to eat and watching my grandmother and my mother make, and then, of course, I've been making them also. Now today is December 18th, and so let's go to our Advent calendar and find out what recipe we get to make today. Oh, it's another one of my mom's recipes. These are ginger creams. These have a lot of really strong flavors in them, so I hope that you like strong flavored cookies, kind of like yesterday's spicy little pfeffernuss, huh? All right, well, I am going to wash my hands and get those ingredients out for us so we can get started. If you would like to download the recipe cards, you can go to www.crafterscountdown.com and you'll find those there. All right, I'll be with you in just a few minutes. I have washed my hands and gotten out our ingredients so we can start mixing. I've gone ahead and put our shortening in already. And to this, we're going to add our molasses. Nice, yummy, thick molasses. I love a good black-strap molasses, and it's actually quite healthy for you as far as sweeteners go. Not always easy to find the black-strap molasses, but it's worth it to keep your eye open for that one. And then we're also going to add water, and as I mentioned before, when I have water and something sticky and liquid, I like to just sort of mix it and see if I can get a little bit more of that liquid out of there. Of course, I've got my rubber spatula to help also. This just sort of helps dissolve a little bit more of the molasses, so just a little bit more of it gets in our recipe here. And then we're also going to add 1 egg. And if you've been following along, you know that I like to break my eggs into a different container first, just to make sure no eggshells sneak into there. And then pour that in. And then also, if you've been following along, you know that we save the eggshells for our garden come springtime. And our sugar. Be nice and sweet with both molasses and sugar, won't it? I've got our wet ingredients here. I'm going to go ahead and cream those together in our mixer. Now in this container, we're going to mix our dry ingredients. So I have the flour already pre-measured, and to that we will add our salt, our baking soda, and then similar to yesterday, we get to add quite a few spices to here, but not quite as many as yesterday. Yesterday's pfeffernuss were really super spicy. This one just has 4, so we have nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and clove. So there's our spices. Put them all together, and I'm going to just stir this together to mix it. And now we're going to add this to our wet ingredients and mix it well. Now we're going to cover this. You can either use plastic wrap, you can use a lid if your bowl has a lid. You can also just set a plate on top of here just to make sure that the dough doesn't dry out. But we need to chill this for 1 hour. So I'm going to go ahead and get this covered, get it put in the refrigerator, and I will be back with you in an hour. We're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees. We have let our wonderful smelling dough chill in the refrigerator for an hour. So it's nice and firm and cold. Smells wonderful. Now we're going to drop teaspoonfuls onto an ungreased baking sheet. If you want to use a second spoon, That's perfectly fine. Your fingers should be good because you've washed it, right? Of course, during this time that the dough was in the refrigerator, I did some cleaning and washed some dishes. So I made sure that I washed my hands before I came back here to this. I usually wash my hands about 4 or 5 times per recipe, but you only know about it that first time. And these don't have to be in any kind of shape. They're a very creamy cookie. That's why they're called ginger creams. And they will spread out a little bit. That's why you want them about 2 inches apart. This one's a little bit smaller than the others, so we will add just a touch to you. And we're going to place these in the oven for 8 minutes or until they're firm enough that if you were to touch the top, no indent would be left in it. So you don't want them thumbprinted like some of the other cookies that we've been baking. So let me get these in the oven and set my timer for 8 minutes. While those are baking, let's go ahead and make our frosting for our ginger creams. So we'll start with our butter and place that in here. And then we're going to add our confectioner's sugar, vanilla, milk. Now the milk has a measurement, but milk is the thing that if our frosting seems like it needs just a little bit more liquid to be creamy enough for us, we can add a little bit more milk if we want to. And then we're going to add a couple of drops of food coloring, and we're choosing red for this. I just thought it was interesting that Mom had the pink frosting on the cookies, but it's red. It's just that it's mixed with the white confectioner's sugar. So I'm going to put a couple of drops of this. The recipe doesn't say how much anise extracts to add. It's a strong flavor. It's kind of the black licorice smell that some people tend to like and some people tend to not like. So how many drops of this you place in there is going to depend on personal preference for how strong you're going to want the flavor on top of the cookies. And so what we can do is mix this, give it a little taste, see if we want more. If we want less, it's too late. But I like black licorice, so I'm going to very much like the flavor of this. Again, so we don't have a poof of powdered sugar, we need to start out slowly. Just a little more. I think you could use a couple more drops. So I'm going to add just a wee bit more. Perfect. All right, so now we will wait for our cookies to come out of the oven. They should beep any second here now. My timer went off, but I left them in for just a moment longer because when I pressed my finger in the top, they weren't holding their shape, and now they are. The really nice things about these flat cookie sheets is that the airflow is better than if they had sides on them. That's why we have specifically cookie sheets or flat baking sheets for these pastries that we make. Right, we want to get this onto our cooling mat as quickly as possible, simply because we don't want the bottoms of the cookies to keep baking on this very hot cookie mat. So get them over here to cool. And then when they cool, we will put the frosting that we made on them while they were cooking and sprinkle a little sugar on top, and they will be done. So give me just a few minutes to let these cool. So our cookies have cooled and they are ready to be frosted and sugared. So we're going, and these are a nice soft cookie. They're very cakey. They're not hard and crunchy like some. So these are more like little cupcake cookies than they are hard crunchy cookies, huh? Definitely not a shortbread type. So we're going to put a little bit of frosting on the top of each of these. And then we will sprinkle with just a little bit of this pretty red decorative sugar. And then set that aside and keep going. It's also nice because some of the ones that might have a little crack or something in the top of them are, you just cover it up because you won't even know. And these aren't expected to be the same shape or size, all of them. They're sort of beautiful in their individuality. They're all a little bit different. So it makes for a lovely tray of these little cookies. And they smell so good. I can smell all the spices and then the frosting flavoring. Just, oh man, really yummy, good smells in here. I would love it if you commented below on the video and let me know if you've tried these, what you think of them, if they were good for you, or if you used a different color frosting for some reason. That's one of the things I thought about doing. I'm doing what my mother does, so making just like she did. And we will just do one more. I like to put the frosting in sort of a swirl so that it's more decorative. You could try to make it smooth. You could make it a back and forth pattern if you wanted to. This is one of those things where you get to be creative and decorate it as you would want to. You can also use a completely different color of sugar on top of here instead of just a different tone. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me as we continue to count down these days of December to Christmas. We are so close. We're almost there. I'm going to finish these up and hide them from the elves so that they don't disappear before our Christmas party on Christmas Eve. I hope that you will continue to join us and that you'll try some of these recipes. And I hope that you'll subscribe to this channel. And remember, if you'd like to get the entire recipe, you can go to www.crafterscountdown.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.